Have you ever felt like a stranger in your own life, as if you were occupying a seat at a table that requires the systematic sacrifice of who you truly are? There is a silent pain in smiling when the soul cries and in agreeing when the heart screams, no. Many times, we trade our inner compass for a handful of fleeting acceptance, believing that belonging justifies the erasure of our light. But what if this comfort is, in fact, the rope that holds back your flight? In this video, we are going to unveil the shadow ascension, a path where personal integrity is not an option, but the only portal to your true power. We will confront the illusion of fitting in to, finally, belong to the only place that matters, our center. In the vast field of spirituality and spiritual awakening, we face a truth that many prefer to ignore. External acceptance can be the greatest block to accessing your inner divinity. Carl Jung, with his eternal wisdom, taught us that what you deny submits you, what you accept transforms you. We are here to challenge the inertia of false belonging and choose the path of integrity, even if it begins in the sacred silence of solitude. This video is not about how to be accepted by the world, but about how to stop betraying yourself to be accepted by your own soul. But, to begin this ascent, we first need to understand why it is so difficult to let go of the hands that pin us to the ground. The force that pulls us away from ourselves has a name and a seductive comfort. There is a magnetic fascination in the desire to fit in. As beings in search of spirituality, we often seek out the group to avoid the fear of the void, even if this happens unconsciously. However, this desire can become a prison. In everyday life, the need to please others manifests as acute internal conflicts and an anxiety that consumes peace. Carl Jung warned us that the effort to be normal or accepted by the collective often distances us from our own soul. This pressure is subtly exacerbated by the constant storefront of social media, where the illusion of belonging is sold in exchange for conformity. You find yourself shaping your words and silencing your truths just to avoid being the odd one out. But real personal development begins when we realize that this comfort is insidious. It offers us a lukewarm welcome in exchange for our vibrant light. Carl Jung described this process as the creation of an excessive persona, a social mask that, if left unguarded, ends up devouring us from within. The belonging that requires the silencing of your soul is not a safe harbor. It is a silent shipwreck. The trap of comfort lies in the false promise that the group will protect us from the fertile void of being. By seeking the group only to escape the encounter with ourselves, we transform belonging into a spiritual anesthetic. True home is not found in a set of rules or a circle of friends that demands your mask, but in the unshakable coherence between what you feel and what you manifest. When we trade our truth for external validation, we create an internal imposter that feeds on our vital energy, leaving us like boats adrift in a sea of appearances. Healing begins when you recognize that the loneliness of being yourself is infinitely more nourishing than the crowd of being who they expect. However, when this mask becomes too heavy to sustain, the body and soul begin to project signs. The discomfort you feel is not a mistake, but the awakening of a character you created to survive. How do you know if you are living a manufactured version of yourself? The soul sends signs, constant whispers of discomfort, an inexplicable loss of joy, and the feeling that you are a spectator of your own life. By sacrificing your essential values in search of external validation, you initiate an erosive process that consumes your identity over time. It is the pain of living inauthentically, like someone wearing clothes that don't fit, but who continues to wear them just because others praise the fabric. Jung taught that the shadow contains not only what we reject as bad, but also our unlived potential. When you pretend to be someone you're not to be accepted, you bury your life force in the darkness. The imposter is not an enemy, but an alert that you have abandoned your truth to avoid rejection. Living this lie hurts more than loneliness itself, for it is a betrayal against the self. Recognizing this mask is the first step towards spiritual awakening. It is admitting that the applause of others does not fill the void of not being who you truly are. This imposter survives on your need to be loved by those who do not know you. It is the construction of years of conditioning, fears, and searches for emotional security. Unmasking it requires looking into the mirror of self-knowledge and asking, who would remain if I lost the applause of those around me? Upon removing the mask, you may feel an overwhelming fear, but it is in this nakedness that the soul finally breathes and the inner path lights up. Once the veils fall and the imposter is revealed, an inevitable invitation arises, to walk the path that most fear. For true integrity is not found in the crowd, but in the silent ascent toward your own center. The journey toward integrity requires courage to walk, at times, in solitude. The first steps involve recognizing the illusion and deliberately choosing the path less traveled. Strategically, you must identify your core values and begin to set clear boundaries, even with those you cherish. Saying no to another to say yes to yourself is the most profound act of personal development. Spiritual awakening does not isolate us forever. It cleanses us so that we can find our authentic tribe, people who vibrate at the same frequency of integrity. There are countless stories of souls who, upon abandoning false belonging, found real success and relationships that do not require the sacrifice of their own soul. Integrity is the perfume that attracts the right opportunities. Jung called this process of individuation, becoming a unique and whole being. This requires accepting the temporary discomfort of true independence. It is fundamental to understand that this isolation is a phase of refinement, not a final destination. Like metal that needs fire to be purified, your soul needs this outer silence to hear its own voice. Emotional independence is not an abandonment of the world, but a reconnection with your center. By choosing the path of truth, you stop seeking shelter outside and discover that the temple has always been within you. The solitary ascent is, in fact, a return to the inner temple that has always been there, waiting for your presence. By choosing the path of truth, you stop seeking shelter outside and discover that security is an internal frequency, not a social circumstance. This process involves a necessary mourning for superficial friendships, for comfortable social roles, and for the nice person image you maintained. However, what flourishes in this fertile void is a spiritual authority that no one can take from you. Emotional independence is not an abandonment of the world, but a reconnection so deep with your center that the world loses the power to destabilize you. And it is precisely in this regenerative silence, where you have stopped begging for crumbs of attention, that the strength you sought in others begins to overflow from within you, reorganizing your entire reality. By aligning your actions with your inner truth, the benefits are profound and lasting. Greater confidence, mental clarity, and a peace that does not depend on external circumstances. Embracing your unique singularity is what, paradoxically, attracts genuine connections and opportunities that truly resonate with your purpose. When you stop being an echo of others' will, you become an original source of light. We see this in real stories of people who freed themselves from false senses of belonging. By stopping the struggle to fit into small spaces, they found their authentic tribe, people who celebrate them for their essence and not for their utility. Personal integrity acts as a vibrational filter. Spiritual awakening reveals that true power does not come from domination, but from the harmony between who you are and what you manifest in the world. It is the moment the mask falls and the soul breathes a sigh of relief, finally integrated and free. Reclaiming authentic power is understanding that you are the master of your own narrative. Integrity is the perfume that attracts the right opportunities and repels what no longer serves your growth. It is the moment the mask falls and the soul breathes a sigh of relief, finally integrated and free. This freedom is not the absence of responsibilities, but sovereignty over your choices. You begin to live from a place of internal abundance, where the feeling of belonging is not something you beg for or negotiate, but something you emanate. By being entirely yourself, you authorize others to do the same, becoming a silent lighthouse of personal development for everyone around you. This is your powerful invitation to begin your own journey of shadow ascension. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Begin today to reclaim your integrity. As an immediate practical step, I invite you to write in your journal about a moment when you felt you weren't true to yourself to be accepted. What did that silence cost you? Next, define a small boundary you will set this week to honor your truth. The final reward is a life of purpose, where the feeling of belonging is not something you beg from others, but something you emanate from within. Remember, the soul is in no hurry. It has rhythm. May you have the courage to follow the rhythm of your own essence. If these words touched something inside you, perhaps it is time to take one more step on this path of reuniting with your inner truth. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to continue receiving content that nourishes the soul with presence and authenticity. Share in the comments what resonated with your heart. Your story might be the mirror someone else needed to find. If you are looking for a safe harbor, know that our community is the sanctuary where fertile silence is shared and deepened. Enjoy the channel's posts. And to continue expanding this field of presence, we suggest the video pinned in the card. Peace and light.